welcome to today's graduate success call. I'm sorry we're starting a couple minutes late. Technology is just always super fun. If you are just now joining us, today is the graduate success call, where we have a graduate joining us who's going to answer questions from you. So if you don't type questions, it's going to get pretty boring pretty fast. No, I promise. I'll keep it interesting, even if you don't type questions. But this call really is about you guys and what you want to know. And so we have a graduate from our program here. So you can ask her. Sometimes we have a guy, but today it's a girl. So you can ask her any question pretty much that you want to ask. This way you're talking to somebody who's been through the program, who also has their own business. So today is all about you guys. So let me tell you a little bit about who's joining us today and how you can ask those questions, okay? So today joining us is Susannah Campora. And before coaching, Susannah Campora was, in her own words, pretty unfulfilled. She had a really successful real estate career, 2 kids. Her marriage wasn't very happy, or at least she wasn't very happy with what was going on with that. And she also wasn't really happy with the way she was serving people or experiencing life. And so after her divorce, she, I hate to say the words finally, but she finally reached out to get help from a coach. And the coach that she hired happened to be certified by iPEC, the Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching. And Susannah was so empowered and inspired by the results that she got that she signed up for the iPEC coach training program just 2 weeks later. So after graduating, she started and ran 2 thriving businesses, and she's had a steady flow of one-on-one clients, and she's added professional facilitation and consulting to her offerings. So she's here to answer your most pressing questions. And how you're going to ask the questions is, if you're registered through the Zoom link, there should be something that looks like a little file folder or a chat window. You can type your questions right in there. I'll be able to see them. If you're joining us on Facebook Live, you can just type your questions right into the comment section, and our technological guru, awesome person, Suzanne, will see them and she'll send them to me. Okay, so there might be a little bit of a delay on those. Sometimes we get questions that are pretty similar, so sometimes I'll group those together. So if you feel your question hasn't really been addressed, feel free to type it in or maybe clarify a little bit, and we'll try again, okay? Because we're going to try to get through as many questions as we can. Now, I'm also going to invite you, before I turn it over to Suzanne, I am going to invite you to stay tuned all the way through the call, because Suzanne is going to tell us about her revtribe.co website, because she's got a group program on there that she wants to talk to you a little bit about called CoLab. And she's part of a bigger global movement that she also wants to tell you a little bit more about. Okay, so be sure to stick through all the way so that you can hear all that exciting stuff towards the end of the call. Okay, so Suzanne, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Heather. It's Susannah. I just wanted to make that distinction.
I am so sorry. I even wrote that down, Susannah. I apologize.
It's all good. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Heather. This is a true honor to have connected with you guys, 4 years down the line after receiving my certification, to share my stories. I have so much to share, so I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Well, if it's okay, as we wait for the questions to roll in, Susannah, would you mind telling us maybe a little bit about how you got your very first client?
Yes, I love that question. So it was scary actually getting my first client. However, I took action anyway, and I was able to take action because in the program, I was so empowered and inspired by how I was being transformed that I knew that I could do it. And I also felt really supported by everyone in the program as well. I had 2 leaders who were teaching my modules. I had groups of other coaches who were developing and learning together. And I also knew I could reach out to the staff anytime. So in that whole experience, I just went ahead and started practicing. The first thing that I did was I offered the people that I already knew in my network just 30-minute discovery call to see what could be possible if they had outside eyes and if they had a safe place to explore some of their goals and to look at their mindset. So I started taking free 30-minute calls. Sometimes they would turn into an hour. But what I found is that with practice, with real life people, that I could really just step into seeing myself as a coach and being professional, working on my wording. And I did find some other tools, and I pulled from the program. I pulled from other things that I found outside of the program to just be able to know what questions to ask as they're thinking about coaching, and to help inspire them to the possibilities of working with a coach. Another thing that I did is I shared my own story. I shared how coaching really impacted my life and how I was actually starting to see results. So it got easier and easier as I just shared myself. I stepped into it. I asked them questions. And from all of that came a lot of wisdom so that I could keep cultivating those skills and get better at even like the end of the conversation where you actually ask for the business. So I actually, I practiced, and I did everything I could to get to that point. And I started with the network that I have.
Awesome. Okay. So if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying that you started with people that you were already a little bit familiar with. So you kind of started in, I guess, maybe a safer place than just, the big, bad, cold world.
Yeah. I mean, Facebook can go either way. So I had felt comfortable with Facebook. So I did do a couple posts of announcing to everyone, hey, I'm taking this new journey of becoming a coach, and I'm learning so many skills, getting so much practice. I would love to see what could be possible if we jump on a discovery call about what coaching could do for you and have you taste it, give you a little experience. And with that really helped. So that was, kind of getting out there and not knowing who was seeing it. And I also felt safe and comfortable to do that. So social media was really huge. And then my network in real estate, which is the industry that I was in at the time.
Great. Okay. And the other thing that I was hearing you say was practice, practice, practice. So kind of being unafraid to have those conversations, because the more of them that you have, the better you're going to get.
Yes. And I believe in just really showing up authentically and expressing myself. But there was an element of having an kind of set questions that I would on purpose ask them to take them through a process that would paint a picture for them as to, what do they really desire and what results do they really, really want to bring forward in their life? And then how coaching actually takes them from A to Z. And, I could be the person for them, and maybe not. But it was, those questions really helped me because I could refer to them and then insert my own, natural conversation into it as well. So just following a little format was really helpful as well.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. And I'm watching some questions scroll in. And so there's several questions that are asking specifically about like the length of our program, how, what does that look like? And so I'm going to ask Suzanne, who's behind the scenes. Yeah. Suzanne, if you could post maybe the link to the 9 keys. It's a downloadable guide. It talks about what's included in our program, the length of the program, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to post that there, because while we have Susannah, I'm going to ask her some of these other questions that are rolling in that are, I think, a little bit more pertinent to Susannah's experience. And everybody out there who's got questions about how our program works, we'll post the 9 keys. Maybe Suzanne, who's our technological guru, maybe you could also post the roadmap. The roadmap is great because it doesn't just talk about our program, but it answers a lot of questions about coaching in general. So that's another great resource for you guys out there, anybody who's asking those kinds of questions. But Susannah, got a lot of Suzannes and Susannahs today. Molly Ann is asking a question. Hi, Molly Ann.
Hi, Molly Ann.
She would like to know, why did you choose life coaching as opposed to like counseling or other, occupations that are considered similar, like mentoring or consulting to coaching? Like, what made you choose life coaching over that?
That is a great question. Okay, so I had experienced counselors and therapists in the past, so on the recipient end. So I'd been in therapy and tried different things, and not extensively though. So I just disclaimer, like I didn't try a lot of different therapists and different ways of having therapy. However, so I believe that experiential learning is some of the most profound and efficient and effective learning ever. So I found out about coaching by being coached. And this coach was iPEC trained, and she just inspired me so much with how she was showing up to me and how I felt in the process. And most importantly, how I started seeing different results in my life. And these were results that I had been wanting for years. And I was also be able to share with her things that I couldn't share with other people. It was a much different experience than my therapy that I had tried. And so I felt like she could see me, she could hear me. We were taking action together. I was empowered. I felt like I could reach out to her anytime. And so my experience of getting coached was so different that I just knew it was special on many different levels. And I knew also that I have these natural gifts that overlap with coaching. However, I could only take myself so far with those gifts. So it could be like a gift of asking questions. I love asking people questions. I have this natural curiosity, but I wasn't always empowered in the questions I would ask, or I wasn't always able to impact them on a deeper level than when I actually got trained in these skills. And so, I would also say that coaching in general is a holistic and integrative way of working with people. I am a psychology major, and so this is a beautiful experience as well that I can share with you. I have a degree in psychology, and I went through an internship, and I really do. I love that I have a college degree. I really appreciate it. It could have been in any topic, really, that degree. But I really wish that I would have known about coaching at that time that I was in my education, because the certification program is shorter than 4 years, way less expensive. I'm still in debt for my college education. And I don't remember anything from my psychology classes. I just don't. What I experienced is sitting in a class and learning information. But what I experienced in my coaching certification was I got my own transformation. I got my life. I got foundational skills that I use in all of my relationships, in my work. It's helping me to understand myself better so that I can create my own life. And I get to help other people do that too. So I was like, oh my gosh, the difference between coaching and a college degree or coaching and traditional therapy blew my mind. And so I tell everyone about it. And I do encourage everyone to, no matter what industry you're in, or if you want to take coaching into a coaching business, I would ask yourself, what else could you do with the foundation of coaching, and how could you bring your coaching skills into whatever you're already doing, things that you love doing, et cetera, et cetera. So it's so holistic and integrative, and it truly is transformative for you and for everyone around you. So
oh my gosh.
That's a huge difference. Right?
That is amazing. And I love that you brought up holistic, integrative, and experiential, because we've got a lot of questions coming in, like, what does iPEC's program really look like? What did you experience? And one of the things that we struggle with how to communicate is why it's important to, when you go to a coach training program, to go to one that has live interaction. It not just something that you interact with online, like that's good for reinforcing the learning, but why is it important to be in that classroom and actually learning, and what does that look like? So like Paul is asking, was the program online? I've got a couple other people saying, why is it important to be there in person? So maybe you could speak to that a little bit too?
Yeah, when we are coaches or we have coaching skills, we bring all of ourselves into it, and we get to impact all of the other person. And so it's not a sliver of impacting each other, but it really is human centric, and it's human first. It's really putting our own humanity first, because in the program, I brought all of myself to the table. And that's what I mean by transformation. There was an experience of, I used to feel disconnected, and now I am connected in my life. You know, there was an experience of, I used to think that I was really listening to people, but because of the experience of iPEC, now I really listen to people. And in that listening, they are transformed. And there is a huge difference between the two, but I haven't seen any way that if we don't experience something as we're learning it, and what I mean by experience is the full engagement, that we could really learn it on a level that's beyond information. It's like we can learn information all day, but are we applying it? So think about any information that you've been learning. It's like a sliver of the whole thing. So when we experience these in-person, 3 day, I think it's 3 day weekends, maybe two.
Mm-hmm. 3. It's 3.
Then we get a taste of that own transformation for ourselves, so that we can give that as a gift to others. We can't give what we don't have.
Oh, I love how you said that. We can't give what we don't have.
Yeah.
Now, I know it was a bit of time ago for you, but if you think back to your very first day of training, when you first walked into module 1, did you think what was, I guess the better question is, what was your reaction to within the first 2 to 3 hours being like, okay, here's a coaching skill. Now you're going to coach, because you coach another person in that class within the first 2 to 3 hours of the class. What was your feelings around that? How did you experience that?
So for me, anytime I do anything new, my comfort zone is challenged. And I feel alive, and I come out on the other end better than when I went into it. So these skills, some of them felt natural, and I'm sure that if you're in a program and you're learning skills, you're going to have some skills down. There's going to be things that come more naturally than other ones. So the areas that I was really confronted on or out of my comfort zone with, I knew, number one, that I was totally safe. I knew that I was experiencing this with other people who were out of their comfort zones. And I will tell you, the leaders of those in-person weekends are so well trained. I felt completely safe, and they just were, their presence, they didn't even have to open their mouths. Their presence was just powerful and loving and warm. And also they could take us to deep places, or to, press on our comfort zone in a way that was actually inspiring and invigorating. And so for me, I just really got that it set up to support us in what we would actually be doing for our coaching clients. And so why not? Why not just dive in, start practicing right then and there? And immediately after the weekends, I was able to start using those skills instead of just, I learned a bunch of skills and then they send you off. I was using the skills as soon as I was done with those weekends, for sure.
Yeah, I found that too. I mean, it was just I've been to trainings before, and you kind of put the skills in your back pocket. But when you go to that first module of iPEC, you come out of it and you immediately start using everything that you were taught in the best way possible. And it's transformative.
Yeah. There's no other way. Once you experience something in life, you have a frame of reference and a wisdom that, you really can't find just through information. So yeah.
Yeah.
You're really hitting that point home.
Elcio is asking, and hi, Elcio, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Elcio is wondering, what do you think was your absolute greatest challenge that you faced during the training program?
My greatest challenge.
Oh, and I'm sorry, he asked a follow-up question too. He wants to know, how did you overcome it?
Okay, awesome. Thank you for asking that question. Oh, man. Okay, so my strength is not in paperwork, Okay. So just clearing that. So in iPEC, I feel like they do a really good job at like addressing all parts of us. So we have practice coaching on the phone. So there's some virtual, there's the in-person modules, there's some paperwork, and there's like tracking everything that we're doing so that we can receive our certification. That was my biggest challenge, was just something that, it's my biggest challenge in life. And so how I overcome it and how I actually overcome anything now, and be empowered in it, is to ask for help. I asked my fellow people that I was getting certified with, I shared with them where I was challenged around the paperwork, and we had conversations where, we brainstormed different ways that I could be empowered in that. I remember talking to one of my leaders about it. And then I restored it. And again, it's like getting out of my comfort zone. I just got better and better at that, having breakthroughs in something that I didn't really know I needed. So I would just say reaching out for help and being accountable to
Interesting.
And this is something that I actually work with a lot of my clients on now. It's creating a structure that helps support us in what matters to us and hit our goals, but not just any structure, a structure that we're maybe accountable to other people for, or it's a structure that we really like that works for us. It's not just someone telling us, do this, and then, we have to do it that way. It's really creating for ourselves, okay, what would be a structure to support me? So that's a lot of the work that I do, and I used it during the program. But everything else, I was like, I love this. I signed up in February, and then my first module wasn't until June. And I was just like, oh, I cannot wait. So it was actually really hard. The whole program was so fun that I just really got into it and really got to connect with a lot of people, and learning that way was really fulfilling for me.
Well, curiously, did you do the advanced standing program? If you enrolled in February and your first module wasn't until June, did you participate in advanced standing?
Tell me what that is. Was that there when I did it?
I'm not sure. So anybody out there right now, if you're thinking about joining us for the upcoming March class, or the one that starts in March, that's our spring session, or we have a class that starts in July, that's our summer session. If you enroll before, the one for spring, if you enroll before, I think it's next Wednesday, it's Valentine's Day, you can participate in advanced standing. If you're thinking of joining us for the summer program, the one that starts in July, you have more time than that. But advanced standing allows early enrollees to get a jump start on the curriculum. So you get to do I think 2 workbooks, you get to do one of the webinar classes. You did it. Okay.
Yeah. I don't think it was called that back then, but I did. It was so wonderful because I got to answer a lot of questions about my life and why I'm doing coaching and what I want to do with it afterwards. And so that really helps me stay engaged in the conversation. And that definitely prepared me and helped with that gap. So thanks for highlighting that.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, no, I just wondered because some people do it, some people don't. I did it too, so I really liked it. But lots of people don't. And if you don't, it's completely fine. It's the same course curriculum that you're going to get in the program. You just get an opportunity to do some of it a little early. That's all. So we've got a question here from Paul, and he is wanting to know, oh, okay, I understand. He's wanting to know, do you feel that you're taken more seriously because you have a degree? You had mentioned that you majored in psychology. Mm-hmm. So he's asking, do you feel that you're taken more seriously because you have a degree, or do you feel that the certification that you got from iPEC will stand on its own?
Yeah, so there's something around the opportunity for us to complete anything in our life, right? So, and what's amazing about completing anything, so having a degree or having a certification, is that you don't just know it for yourself, but other people know it because it's just evident. Oh, they completed this. They have that. They did that. So it really, I would say it's a personal decision for everyone as to what you want to complete. What do you want to share with the world? So as I don't put as much of an emphasis on my college degree with what I do now. Like I maybe could have, do what I do now just as effectively without a college degree. However, my college degree does come in handy, and it's just something that I've completed So I know myself in the world as I have a college degree, and it does mean something. But if you can imagine, everyone attaches their own filter and their own beliefs and stories around whatever it is that we're going to complete anyway. So sometimes we can't really control what other people are going to think of us. So I would just do what matters to you and what matters for you to complete. And then just enjoy the fact that you get to put it on a piece of paper, you get to share it, you get to put it on your website for the credibility factor and for just all the skills and tools. I mean, yes, I did so much in college, and it wasn't just about the degree. You know, I have amazing friends and all the things, right? So it's really, what experience do you want to have for yourself? And what does that look like to be complete with yourself, that experience was something that bettered you or helped you reach your goals, etc.
Awesome. Okay. And, you know, as you were talking about that, I don't see it now, but I saw another question that I feel leads right into what you were talking about. Somebody had asked about imposter syndrome. And, you know, when we go through the training, part of the training, I'm going to give you guys a little, you know, the inside glimpse into the training, we deal with what we call gremlins. And a big gremlin is often the whole, you know, not good enough feeling. And so it can be that imposter syndrome. So having the certification and the coach training, one is, you know, have you ever, maybe you still do, suffer from imposter syndrome, and how do you use your coach training to kind of overcome that and keep going out there and, you know, getting those clients and doing what you do?
The whole world could believe in me, and the whole world could celebrate the fact that I have a certification in coaching. But if I don't believe in myself, then it shows up. And it impacts me and impacts other people's experience of me. And so what I found is that any way that we can transform our beliefs about ourselves, please do it. Like, please. It doesn't matter if you're getting that through coaching certification or you're going to other personal development or you're hiring a coach. Please look at our beliefs about ourselves, because if we are walking around with imposter syndrome and we don't look at that and confront it and then know what to do with it, right? Have you guys ever discovered beliefs about yourself and you're like, what the heck do I do with this? Like, I don't like this. This doesn't work for me. But coaching certification and also being coached by a professional really allows us to know how to respond to those beliefs that don't work, like imposter syndrome, and then how to transform them, how to rewrite our story. Because you've heard the stories, you guys. It doesn't matter how accomplished you are, what you show on paper. If you don't believe in yourself, you can have the whole world. Katy Perry just did an interview where she allowed herself to be so vulnerable. And she actually shared that, look at me, I'm famous, I have all these followers. She said, I am miserable inside, and I am changing that. She was miserable inside because of her beliefs about herself and how she was trying to hide who she really was to these millions of followers. So please just look at that, get that transformed. And it's a practice for our entire lives, because those beliefs like imposter syndrome still show up in my life. They show up for the rest of our lives. It's a part of being a human. But the key is how do we respond to it within ourselves, and how do we practice a new way of being so that the new way of being that we really enjoy and is a gift to others can be there more often than the imposter syndrome that keeps wreaking havoc in our lives and in our work. So that's what I would say to that.
Awesome. That's a great answer. I think that this kind of follows in that. Greg is wanting to know, he said, I can't imagine what potential clients would ask in that. You had mentioned at the beginning of the call, the free 30-minute session that you do. But he says, if it were me, I would ask, what is the ROI? And for anybody out there who doesn't know what ROI is, it's return on investment in your coaching service and the coaching that you provide. And so what you were just talking about is, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's all that ROI. But how do you package that up in that 30-minute free session? If somebody were to say to you, well, what is the ROI if I were to work with you?
So like their return on investment,
Mm-hmm.
it really depends on what they want to transform. So if they are not connected to what they really deeply desire, then they will not do whatever it takes to get those results for their life. And so what that means for a coach is that we get trained through iPEC to help them to connect with what they really want, and then be able to empower them to see what's blocking them from getting it. And then they step into that and they grow an awareness around that. And then they get the results for themselves. So it is a team effort, but I think as a coach, being trained in how to do that is so important. Because really what really matters to people and why they would invest in themselves is so that they can get the results that they want. So if it's that they want to lose 20 pounds, then you as the coach help co-create the structure so that that happens. And it's not guaranteed results, but it's helping them to work out the muscles to uncover what's holding them back from losing the 20 pounds. And so as a coach, it's really important to be in that conversation and to experience it ourselves and then bring it forward into being able to have that occur for someone where they're closer and closer and closer to the results. Otherwise, what is the return on investment? But if we have to be willing as coaches to go deep with people so that we can address their beliefs about themselves, because they might lose 10 pounds because they adjust to this and this and this. But if they don't believe that they're worthy, let's say, and we don't as coaches address that core belief, then they might go back to, the same way as they were before. But this is the kicker. We are not meant to share with them all the things that we do with them in coaching. There's elements that we do share, but we don't need to advertise like, hey, we're going to dive into your beliefs about being unworthy. You want to sign up? Do you want to pay?
That would be terrifying.
Yeah. And I heard this analogy actually when I was in iPEC. There's this concept of that. You're on an island in your life right now, and there's things that aren't working, and there's things that you don't want. And on another island, there's your dream life and results that you want, and your life works. And what a coach does is says, hey, get on this ship with me, and let's journey to the new island together. And so the coach, brings in, I know that there's so many different kinds of coaches because everyone is so different. And so everyone has their own twist, but you'll know, if you have ever been in the market for a coach, you know when you resonate with someone, and you can know that you would make a good team. But I also want you to look for the coaches that challenge you and are different from you and that supplement your natural gifts and ways of being. Because when we have that coach that really challenges us and holds us accountable, it helps to push us in the direction of where we really want to go. So there's a lot in there, but yeah, I would say that's a great analogy for what a coach does and how a coach is kind of their purpose for other people to achieve their goals.
I love how you put that about the islands and getting on the ship and journeying together. I was like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it's the ocean, so it's treacherous, and you're leaving an island that you've known for years, maybe since you were a kid. And so it truly is an adventure that you dive in with people. And I just want to highlight too, there's this element of private coaching that is, there's a purpose for it and it's very powerful. But you can use your coaching certification, your coaching skills for groups of people. So you can actually, it helps you to, you could say, like if the group has a shared purpose or a shared vision, coaching skills really help to facilitate the movement of that group from one island to another as well. So just to kind of paint a picture for you that it doesn't always have to look like it's one-on-one.
Interesting. And if I'm hearing you correctly, I think what you're also saying is it doesn't just work that way for entrepreneurs. Like if you work for an organization, you could use that same, all the coaching skills to like maybe take the team that you work with and get them from the island where things maybe are not functioning very well and move them to the island where things are functioning really well.
Absolutely. And one of the things I see in that is that if you're a leader of people or groups out in your life or work, even with parenting, my coaching skills have helped me with my 2 kiddos. So I'm able to really see and hear each individual in the group and go deep with them. Like I can help them from a deeper place and from a holistic place. And that's important for the group to be able to come together as a team. If there's one person or 2 or 3 that don't feel seen and heard, or they are not, like they're confronting some things that is actually impacting the whole group, whether we like to see it or not. If they are not coached, then they'll just keep holding on to that stuff, and it'll just get into all of the group dynamics and in the communication. And so I think it's so powerful that coaching skills can really reach people on the deeper level so we can get them and have a more powerful group experience because of it.
Awesome. Okay. And, you know, I'm seeing a lot of questions coming in that are related to like building your business. And I know you had mentioned, hey, this isn't just for like one-on-one groups. And like, can you tell us maybe a little bit about how your business is structured from the sense of, is it all just like one-on-one, or I know you have an upcoming group program. Like, what does that look like? What does your day-to-day look like?
Love that question. Okay. So that has evolved over time. And what I see is that as I experience business and how coaching fits into that, it's expanded, it's evolved, it's changed. And I have changed as a person. So my business changes naturally because of that. So number one, I've always had at least one private coaching client all of the time. Like it's been a consistent base or foundation of the work that I do. And, you know, I would say when I have one coaching client, it's like, okay, it's time for 2 more. So I typically have about 3 private coaching clients at a time. And the amount I'm charging for my private clients has gone up over time as well, because I've owned my money, you know, what I'm charging. And so you can kind of incrementally increase it as you gain experience and confidence and all of that.
Oh my gosh, I got to tell you, I am so loving everything you're saying right now, because so many people, they're like, I got to get 10 clients immediately. And I'm always like, get one and then get the next one and then get the next. So everybody out there who's listening, this is so important. What Susannah is telling you is like, it grows and it changes as you grow and you change. So please continue. This is so great.
Yeah, it's really, you know, I even tell my clients now who are launching their own businesses, it could be a business in any industry, but it's like, get used to the ebbs and flows and the cycles of our life and our work. And there's all these different phases that we go through. So I just want to highlight that, because it's like really getting comfortable with being uncomfortable and growing and stretching and learning. So I would say that, you know, another reason why iPEC is much needed, because you get practice on how to do that too. So another thing that I want to share is that coaching certification gave me the courage to step into ideas that I had that were outside of private coaching. So an example of this was, there was an opportunity for me to volunteer lead a group of women around a personal development book. And when I started doing it, it was for fun. And then I also saw how it could help attract my ideal clients to my coaching business and my one-on-one practice. So I started leading these groups for fun, and I started discovering how much it was helping them, and I was applying all of my coaching skills to these women. And it was so beneficial for all of us that I kept doing it. I kept doing this idea and being in the practice of it. And 8 months later, I turned it into a model for business where I monetized what I had been doing for 8 months with my ideal clients. And so it was as simple as, it was like, I'll share a little bit about the model. It was like 6 weeks long, one core group for the 6 weeks, and we would read one personal development book. And we would read the book together, but when we would meet every week, they would all have this coaching experience, and they would learn more about themselves and have breakthroughs, and then also get to connect with each other and create community. And some of those women were like, can you teach me to do what you're doing? So then I started a leadership training program that empowered and taught other leaders how to just have these groups and get paid a little bit for it. So it was like this experience of merging the entrepreneurship world with my coaching skills. And the personal development industry is $1 billion worldwide industry. You can do whatever you want to do and create whatever you want to create. And my business coach right now would say, build your business upon your natural gifts. Like whatever you love to do and share with people, like make sure that you're leading with that and monetizing it so that you get the best of both worlds. You get to utilize your skills and everything you've learned up to that point. You get to bring in your natural gifts and your natural skills that maybe you didn't even have to learn, you were just born with. And then you bring in the money piece and you charge people for it. So it's this beautiful convergence of different elements. And I mean, it really is, I think the scary part for people is creating something out of nothing. It seems like nothing, but you're creating something based on yourself, which is scary. But this is where I would say empower yourself with skills, not just the coaching skills, but empower yourself with business skills, or, look into like, do I want to have a virtual business? How can I learn all about those skills? Or do I want it to be in-person events? And so really look for yourself as to what is your dream? Like paint a vision for what you could see yourself doing out in the world, sharing your gifts, sharing yourself, and then reverse engineer it to see how you could monetize it and what skills do you need to learn, what coaches do you need to hire, or what communities to support you in creating this to come about.
I'm so glad that you brought that up. Because one of the things when I went through the program, I literally, like everybody out there knows this, I enrolled in the program the same day I filed my unemployment paperwork. It was terrifying. So when I was going through the program, I was one of those people who was in that space of like, oh, I need clients, which is like the worst space to be in when you like are wanting to attract a client. And to your point, it feels really intimidating to have to create something out of nothing. If you are like me and not very good at that, iPEC actually includes workshops. Like you get a manual that has workshops in it. You can use that. So you can, and iPEC encourages you to do so. You have to say like, this is iPEC's, but that's a good thing. It's like having the 800-pound gorilla in the room with you that says, yes, we trained this person and they're going to give you this amazing workshop. So you have all of that stuff. And to Susannah's point, use that to start to practice, start to get comfortable, because what she's saying is the things you naturally love, you'll start to create that into your own thing. Mm-hmm. It will all come naturally and the right people will be attracted to you naturally. Yeah. So she's giving you guys like a ton of great information on how to build your business. It's awesome.
So much to share. And another thing to that is that there's a trend in our marketplace now where the more distinct you are, the more unique you are, and the more authentic you are.
Yeah.
That you're just like, hey, this is me, or hey, this is my brand, and not apologizing for it. And it does, again, just takes practice to really get into that space. But people want to buy whatever you say, whatever you have to offer, because it's authentic, because it stands out from any other person. So please do not try to be like other coaches. Don't try to think that there's a right way or a wrong way to do it. Just drop those labels right now just drop them today, right now, because there's no one else like you, and use that to your advantage, no matter what it is you're doing. Another thing I want to highlight is that I was in real estate. I was still a residential realtor when I was in my certification process for iPEC. And then when I launched my coaching business, when I was done with iPEC, and I had already kind of started building the business just by having those discovery calls with prospective clients. But then I started cycling out of real estate, but I still had that income coming in, and I still fed that business while I was getting and ramping up my coaching business. And it was fast track for growth, guys. Like, let's just get real. It was incredibly out of my comfort zone, and it was like the best time of my life. I still do. Like, I am in the energy of aliveness more often than not, because I get to create things and I get to learn more about myself, etc. So it's definitely an amazing journey. And again, you can just keep doing your job. You can just keep staying in the industry you're doing, but this will enhance everything that you're doing and anything you'd want to do in the future. I'm not kidding. It's priceless. I can't even find a number that would share with you the exponential impact of coaching skills in your life, in your work. I tell everyone about it because it's foundational.
It is. It really is. I'm so glad that you mentioned all of that, because we have a challenge somehow like expressing that to people. You really do have to experience it.
Yeah. And see the impact. So even anything that you have said that, oh, Susannah, that's so good. Or, oh yeah, it's like, I got my ability to communicate and express on these different levels because of my coaching training. I could not do that before. I couldn't like wrap my head around certain concepts or really get people or really, it was monumental. And in a sense, I actually see that coaching skills are communication skills that no one taught us or demonstrated to us as we were growing up from our parents or from schools or in our society. So for me, it was like, man, I wish I would have learned these basic, some of them are basic, others are way more complex that we practice, but it's foundational to who I am as a human now. And I know that I have expanded beyond my wildest, imagination because I have these skills, and we all need them. Kids can be taught some of these powerful things. So I teach them to my kids now.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Because you're right. All of these things we, as coaches, we don't just, it's not like we walk home through the door at 5 p.m. and we stop being coaches. We're living these things. So yes, it enhances our lives, it enhances our happiness, and it happens to give us a skill set where we can actually create the life of our dreams, if that's what we want to do.
I would like to just touch on something right here that kind of takes the conversation a little bit bigger. But Thich Nhat Hanh, who is a public figure, global public figure, he has been for some time, he said that this kind of communication will end conflict in the world, will actually end war. And the type of communication that he's speaking to is what we can bring to people as coaches, and then of course for ourselves, but it's being able to really hear and see people and give them a space of non-judgment and compassion. And so if we can practice that type of communication for ourselves, our clients, the people in our lives, imagine that type of exponential impact occurring for more and more people to experience peace and love and joy and we can stop with the other stuff already.
I love that you brought this up, because iPEC's mission and vision, it's really simple. It's to raise the consciousness and the awareness of the world one person at a time. That's why we do what we do. So I'm so glad you brought that up.
That's why I became a coach and I said goodbye to real estate. Okay, I live in Denver and people thought I was crazy for leaving the real estate market here in Denver behind. I said, you know what? I'm going to transform the world, starting with myself. And it happens to be a $1 billion industry. So I think I'll go that way.
I love it. And I think this is a great time to talk about what you have going on in the bigger sense. But before we do that, I know we didn't get to everybody's questions. I'm very sorry. You guys asked amazing questions today. If your question didn't get answered, I want to invite you to speak one-on-one with an admissions coach at iPEC. Notice I said admissions coach, not salesperson. We are not salespeople. Nobody's going to try to sell you anything or get you to sign on the dotted line or whip out a credit card. We are all coaches. We are here to help you decide if becoming a coach is your best next step. And then after that, is iPEC the best place for you to be? If the answer to either of those questions is no, it is so 100% okay. As Susannah and I are talking about this, what we're all here to do as coaches is raise the consciousness and the engagement of the world one person at a time. So if your question didn't get answered, please connect with us, but don't go away, because Susannah right now is going to tell us about her group program called Collab and that bigger global movement that she's part of.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Heather. So first of all, I just want to share that because of my coaching awareness and the things that I've done because of iPEC and the businesses that I've run, I have found that there's such a need for connection in our society. So think about the social epidemics that impact us every single day, the mass shootings and addiction and bullying and suicide. And I could go on and on. So I found that there's key elements of human connection that we're missing. Coaching fills the gap, and also other social emotional skills. And I would say the building of community, the creation of of stronger communities. And so I'm on a mission to really cause, starting here in Denver, a connection movement where more and more leaders are coming together to create this community and bring awareness to the need for human connection and how to actually do that, because we don't know how to do that all the time. So I would love for you to join me in what I have going on. And really it's the umbrella. The connection movement is the umbrella for anything else that I do when I coach or do my group coaching. I have a couple other amazing projects that I'm working on underneath this umbrella. But you'll experience this if you want to try something like Collab. Collab is my small group coaching model that lasts for 7 weeks, where you get 2 private coaching calls with me, and then you get 5 group coaching calls with other people on a journey with you who want to create something that really matters to them. And we practice connecting and supporting each other and doing it together. So it's a really amazing space to kind of try on some of these skills and be in the experience of transformation with other people and a professional coach. Another thing is, if you're interested in this connection movement, I have a Facebook group that's right now, I think it's public, but we can share a link with you and you can join in that way, because I'm sure you're listening in from all over the world. So that would be great to just have your presence there and just see what else is happening here in Denver and beyond.
Fabulous. Oh my gosh, that is amazing. And to think, before you came to iPEC, you were like, I'm just remembering back to the beginning of our call, before you came to iPEC, you were just kind of like, I'm not happy with my life and I'm in real estate and just kind of like, blah. And then you hired a coach and then you came to iPEC and now you're connecting the world.
Yes, absolutely. You totally nailed it on the head. Just complete revolution. And, I gave myself what I had been needing for years and didn't even know it. Got a lot of that in iPEC. And now I'm creating for other people more of what they are needing, and just really fulfilling them on those deeper levels of human connection. So yeah, you can find out about all of my work as well on revtribe.co. That's tribe.co, and you'll find more about my story, my other offerings, and what I value and what I'm creating. So I would love to have you join anything that resonates with you. And I highly recommend going for iPEC. Just do it. It's the best decision I've ever made in my life.
Oh my gosh.
Seriously.
Thank you so much. That was so nice, because I was actually going to be like, you guys, her program sounds amazing. Getting the 2 deep dives and the 5 group calls, because then you have other people you can talk to and share your struggles with. Like, that sounds like an amazing program.
Yeah, I'm all about causing community in any way. We're craving it, right? And you get a community in iPEC as well. So
yes, you do. Yeah. And so anybody out there who's listening, if you're thinking about becoming a coach, we do have a program that's starting in March. And one of the things we ask a lot of coaching questions when you speak with an admissions coach. If you are ready to change your life, if you know you want to change your life, why wait? Because time is the one non-renewable resource that we just can't get any more of it. So, when Susannah realized she wanted to change her life, look what happened for her. So if you kind of are feeling that same way, if you're like, ooh, I'm on this island that I'm not happy with and I want to get over there to that island, come on board, come on a journey. It's really fun and you won't be alone. So feel free to speak with an admissions coach. I'm sorry, Susannah, what were you saying?
I'm like over here celebrating everything you're saying.
Awesome. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. If you have more questions about iPEC's program, feel free to reach out to us, speak with an admissions coach. If you have more questions about Susannah's program, feel free to get in touch with Susannah. And her website is, I'm going to say it again, one more time, revtribe.co, and that's REV like Victor, tribe.co. So feel free to reach out to her as well. Facebook
me, email is on the website. So I'd love to connect.
Perfect. And Susannah, thank you so much. We know you took an hour out of your day, which sounds really busy and very full, to be with us today. And so from myself and from everybody here on the call, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate all of you guys, and everyone watching. Thank you so much for tuning in and for discovering about this opportunity for yourself. Good luck to all of you. And thank you so much, Heather. You're amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's very sweet. Everybody out there, as always, I wish you a life and a profession of your choosing. So everybody have a great day, and we will hopefully see you in class.